Today we'll be working in my workbook called Samuel, From Child to Leader of Israel. And this workbook covers 1 Samuel chapters 1 through 7. Looking at the table of contents, we have completed the first 4 chapters. We have heard about Hannah praying to God for a son, and then she does receive the son and she dedicates it to the Lord. He is brought to Shiloh and being raised under the priest Eli. And Hannah later has more sons and daughters, but Samuel has been dedicated to the Lord. Then in chapter 3, we see Samuel compared to the sons of Eli, where they are awful and scoundrels, as it is called. Samuel is growing up inside the tabernacle under the tutelage of Eli and is doing really well. Then in chapter 4, when he's older, 8, maybe 9, I don't know, he gets the call from God. And he gets his first call from God. And a call from God, someone hearing directly from God, hasn't happened in so long. It takes time for both Eli and Samuel to understand what's happening. But he does get a call from God, and one of the things that God shares is what is going to happen to Eli and his sons, or at least his sons of Eli. And Samuel's not comfortable with that, but Eli does tell him that what God said, and so Eli is aware that that should be happening fairly soon. So now we're going to get into some of the events that have happened during this period of time, and we're going in chapter 5. The ark is captured. The ark of God is captured, 1 Samuel 4, 22 to 22. And basically what God promises happens this day. Now the Israelites went out to fight against the Philistines. The Israelites camped at Ebenezer and the Philistines at Aphek. On the map, find Aphek and Ebenezer. So we see Aphek, we see Ebenezer and Aphek. Okay. Aphek, Ashdod, Gath, and Ekron are all in the land of Philistines, outline the land of Philistia. Well, I'm not going to outline it because it's hard, but basically, this area in green is Philistia. Ebenezer, Shiloh, Beth Shemesh, and Kiriath Jearim, and Jerusalem are all in the land of Israelites. Circle them in one big circle. Okay, so that we might be able to do. Ebenezer, Shiloh, and Beth Shemesh. Well, I don't know that I can get it in one big circle. There you go. Somewhere like that. Well, I think we got them all. Ebenezer should be in there. But at this time, Jerusalem is not a major city. Cross it out. All right. Where's Jerusalem? What city is the tabernacle in? And it would be Shiloh, which is up here. Yeah, Shiloh. In this story, we also will be talking about the lined arrows from Shiloh to Aphek. Put an A under that line. Is that arrow mostly in the land of Philistines or Israelites? In the land of Israelites. So we're going to put something in there. Text box. We're going to put in A under there. Who were the Israelites going to fight? The Philistines. Reading below, how long had they been an enemy when we first hear about them in the time of Samson? Who are the Philistines? They are a thorn in the side of Israelites as the Jews settled in the land of Canaan. We see them first as enemies during the time of Samson, Judges 3:16. However, there is talks of them being an enemy for 4 years already. Beyond this present battle, we see them throughout the books of Samuel, Kings, and Chronicles. Goliath, the giant killed by David, is a Philistine. So, how long has them been an enemy when we first hear about them in Samson? They've been 40 years an enemy, even before Judges. The scriptures continue. The Philistines deployed their forces to meet Israel, and as the battle spread, Israel was defeated by the Philistines, who killed about 4,000 of them in the battlefield. Who was losing the battle? The Israelites. How many Israelites were killed on the battlefield? 4,000 of them. Circle a character in the picture that was most likely a Philistine. Cross out a character in the picture was most likely an Israelite. I thought that God was always on the side of the Israelites. Why do you think the Israelites are losing? Most likely because they have not worked with God and talked with Him and had Him on their side. They think they can do it on their own. What should the Israelites do to win the war? Pray to God. Find out how God can help them. Be atoned with God. When the soldiers returned to camp, the elders of Israel asked, "Why did the Lord bring defeat on us today before the Philistines? Let us bring the ark of the Lord's covenant from Shiloh, so that he may go with us and save us from the hand of our enemies." Bringing the ark of the covenant into battle has worked before. When Joshua fought the battle at Jericho, in Joshua 6, the Israelites carried the ark with them around the city, and the walls of Jericho fell down. What did the elders of Israel located in the camp in Ebenezer wonder? Why did the Lord allow us to be defeated? What name did they give the ark? The ark of the Lord's covenant. What is the plan the elders of Israel have to win the battle? Just bring the ark before us in battle, and that should do it. Does it look like they prayed to seek God's advice before they did this? No, they didn't. Since God is everywhere, did the Israelites need the ark in order for God to be in the battle? No, that's true. He's everywhere. Where does the Israelites believe the power of God resides? In prayer or in the ark of the Lord's covenant? In the ark of the Lord's covenant. Why do you think that? Because they certainly didn't pray. And they're looking at an object to do the job that they were hoping for. So the people sent men to Shiloh, and they brought back the ark of the covenant of the Lord Almighty, who is enthroned between the cherubim. And Eli's two sons, Hophni and Phinehas, were there with the ark of the covenant of God. Where did they go to get the ark? To Shiloh to get the ark. The ark has two new names in this passage: the ark of the covenant of the Lord Almighty, who is enthroned between the cherubim, and the ark of the covenant of God. Who is with the ark of the covenant? Hophni and Phinehas. It was logical they were with the ark because they are what? They are Levitical priests in the top two. They brought the ark into battle that was located where? In the Battle of Ebenezer and Aphek. Looking at the picture, how many people did it take to carry the ark? 4. Scriptures continue. When the ark of the Lord's covenant came into the camp, all Israel raised such a great shout that the ground shook. Hearing the uproar, the Philistines asked, "What's all this shouting in the Hebrew camp?" When they learned that the ark of the Lord had come into the camp, the Philistines were afraid. "A God has come into the camp," they said. "Oh no, nothing like this has happened before. We're doomed. Who will deliver us from the hand of these mighty gods? They are the gods who struck the Egyptians with all kinds of plagues in the wilderness." Be strong, Philistines. Be men, or you be subject to the Hebrews as they have been to you. Be men and fight. So the Israelites fought, and the Philistines fought, and the Israelites were defeated, and every man fled to his tent. The slaughter was very great. Israel lost 30,000 foot soldiers. The Ark of God was captured, and Eli's two sons, Hophni and Phinehas, died. Were the Philistines frightened of the Ark of the Covenant? Absolutely. Did the Philistines know about the power of the Israelites' God? Yes. How do you know? Because they talk about all the plagues in Egypt. Who won the battle? The Philistines. How many additional Israelites were killed? 30,000 foot soldiers. This means how many Israelites total were killed? Well, geez, I don't know. We had before 30,000 and 4,000, so 34,000. What was taken? The Ark of the Covenant, and who died in battle? Hophni and Phinehas. That same day, a Benjamite ran from the battle and went to Shiloh with his clothes torn and dust on his head. When he arrived, there was Eli sitting on his chair by the side of the road, watching, because his heart feared for the ark of the God. When the man entered the town and told what happened, the whole town set up a cry. Looking at the map on page 60, calculate how many miles the Benjamin had to run to get to Shiloh from the battlefield. Okay. Page 60. I would say we're going to look at this one. I'm not sure this is page 60 in your books, but so they're going to Shiloh, and they're going back along the same route. And well, it looks just to be about 20 miles or more. Just about 20 miles, I think. What words tell us that the Benjamite barely made it out of the battle alive? His clothes were torn and there was dust on his head. He was sitting by the side of the road watching. Eli. Was Eli fearing for his sons or the Ark of the Covenant? He's fearing for the Ark of the Covenant. Israel lost three major things in battle. Can you name them? An important artifact, the Ark of the Covenant. Two lead priests, Hophni and Phinehas, and over 40,000 dead, right? 30,000, about 34,000 men dead. Why do you think God allowed the Ark of the Covenant to be captured? Because they weren't using it properly. They didn't have they weren't aligned with God. They were using it as a symbol. Eli heard the outcry and asked, "What is the meaning of this uproar?" The man hurried over to Eli, who was 98 years old and whose eyes had failed so that he could not see. He told Eli, "I have just come from the battle line. I fled from it this very day." Eli asked, "What happened, my son?" How old is Eli at this time? 98, which is pretty good at that time. What handicap due to age had happened to him? He could barely see. Since Eli could not see, he heard the noise, so he asked a question. What was the question? What's the meaning of this uproar? The man said he fled from the battle line that very day. How many miles is it from the battle approximately? About 20. If a normal man runs about 8 miles per hour, approximately how long did it take him to run to Shiloh? About 2.5 hours, almost 3. What has Eli been worried about? The Ark of the Covenant. Why is Eli not worried about his sons? Because he's already heard that God is going to take them eventually. The man who brought the news replied, "Israel fled before the Philistines, and the army has suffered heavy losses. Also, your two sons, Hophni and Phinehas, are dead, and the Ark of God has been captured." When he mentioned the Ark of God, Eli fell backward off his chair by the side of the gate. His neck was broken and he died, for he was an old man and he was heavy. He had led Israel 40 years. How did Eli die? He fell backward and hit his head. How long had he led Israel as a priest? 40 years. So three main priests died that day. Who are they? Eli and his sons Hophni and Phinehas. His daughter-in-law, the wife of Phinehas, was pregnant and near the time of delivery. When she heard the news that the ark of God had been captured and that her father-in-law and her husband were dead, she went into labor and gave birth, but was overcome by her labor pains. As she was dying, the women attended her said, "Don't despair, you've given birth to a son." But she did not respond or pay any attention. She named the boy Ichabod, saying, "The glory has departed from Israel, because the capture of the ark of God and the deaths of her father-in-law and her husband." She said, "The glory has departed from Israel, for the ark of God has been captured." And we've come to the end of this chapter. So, in number 2, across. What country lost the battle? Israel. How many years had Eli led Israel? 40. Who ran to Shiloh to tell of the battle? Um, who ran to Shiloh to tell the battle? I don't know. Let's see. A Benjamite. A Benjamite. Benjamite. At one, at Ebenezer Aphek, the Israelites fought the Philistines. What is the name of Eli's grandson and Phinehas's son? Ichabod. What is the profession of Hophni, Phinehas, and Eli? Priests. What town were the Israelites going to bring the ark from? Shiloh. That's the end of this chapter. I hope you enjoyed it.